Is it possible to make your own Woodford Double Oak? Let's find out. What's going on, everybody? Nathan here with the Everyday Drinker, bringing you guys a brand new video. Today we have a very, very fun experiment for you all, and I am excited for this one because I want to find out, can we make our own Woodford Double Oak? Very, very simple 3 ingredients that you need. You need a bottle of Woodford Reserve. This is 90.4 proof. You need these. These are barrel your own bourbon, premium toasted American oak wood chips. Craft your own full flavored bourbon in 3 weeks. Take Kentucky at home. Now on the back, there are 4 steps that you need to follow to make your own Woodford Double Oak. You need to open the jar. You need to pour 375 milliliters of your bourbon into the jar, seal the jar, then let it sit for 3 to 12 weeks, and you should have your perfect bourbon. Now what this calls for is white dog. We don't have white dog. We're looking to make our double oaked Woodford Reserve, and the only way to do that is with original Woodford and a double oaking process. So this is gonna be a 2-part video. You're gonna see me in a couple of weeks wearing something new. Who knows, maybe I'll be shaving. Who freaking knows? But without further ado, let's put some Woodford Reserve in this jar, seal it up, and I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. We are all sealed up, we're filled, and we are ready to have our own Woodford Double Oak. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. We are back. It has been 3 months and 1 day since I have filled this jar with Woodford Reserve to make my own Woodford Reserve Double Oak. We've got everything in place to find out if it's any good, and we have to empty out this jar right now. And this is some dark stuff right now, everybody. This is some very, very dark stuff. I'm probably going to make a mess right here. So let's dump her out. Yep, I'm making a mess. Making a mess. I don't know how to do this without making a mess, honestly. We're gonna fast forward through this. This smells creamy and vanilla-y. It smells really good, actually, surprisingly. This is 100% darker than Woodford Reserve. This is gonna be crazy. That's as dark as the night sky. All right, everybody, we have our homemade Woodford Double Oak right here in the Pyrex. We're gonna pour a little bit into this Glencairn. Just a little bit. And let's get a close-up of how dark that is compared to the other offerings from Woodford Reserve. Alright, so we are going to taste and nose really quick the regular Woodford Reserve just so we have a profile of what the original Woodford Reserve starts out as. So you get a very, very soft oakiness on that upfront nose. Comes through to have a little bit of a caramel, there's a touch of banana in this as well. Very, very light fruit notes. It's got a little woodiness, it's got a little sweetness, it's got a little bit of a fruit note going through on there. And on the palate, it transfers over very, very nicely from what you get on that nose. It's not over oaked. It's not over sweet. It's a very beautiful, balanced bottle of bourbon that I really enjoy. It's one that I always have on my shelf. It's a really, really nice mid-tier bottle of bourbon for those lower proofs. It pushes that $30, $35 range for some people. Single barrels you can get for like 40-ish. But you just cannot go wrong with Woodford Reserve. Now let's go on to Woodford Double Oak and see what happens after regular Woodford Reserve goes into their own double oaked barreled process. It gets a little toastier, right? You get a little bit more of a barrel char coming through on here. It smells a little bit more like a campfire. I also get a touch of marshmallow. Those sugars from that oak get expressed into that bourbon like you wouldn't believe. And I enjoy that nose a lot. As always, this bottle for me, this Woodford Double Oak, I tend to get a little bit of a single malt note out of there, but the nose is very pleasant. I get a lot of chocolatey notes in there. Really, really pleasant on the nose. The palate is where I get a little thrown off from this bottle. Yeah, this bottle of Woodford Double Oak, not really my favorite that I've had. I get a touch of that single maltiness coming through on it. It's not bad whatsoever. It's just not my favorite bottle that I've ever had, and I'm not quite sure why this bottle is so different than other ones that I've had. But I'm really, really excited to dive into my homemade Woodford Double Oak and just see what the nose is like out of a Glencairn and get a taste of it and see if you can do this yourself. Grab your own bottle of Woodford Reserve, pour it in a jar that has some wood chips in there, and see if you can make your own double oak bottle of bourbon. The original jar here is made for White Dog. You're supposed to pour White Dog in it, age it for 3 weeks, and see what happens from there. I poured actual already done bourbon inside of this to see if I can make my own double oak. Now, double oak process is definitely a lot shorter of a time for the process of making those double oak bottles of bourbon, but I wanted to see if you take that, you put it in there for the amount of time that they say for a regular bourbon, if anything fun comes out of it. So here we go. Let's get into the nose of this bad boy right here. Super, super oaky, right up front. Oak, 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 which is what I was expecting, right? But I get a touch of a licorice. It almost has a little bit more of a rye spice forward coming off. You know, it's funny because I got a lot of baking spice. There's a lot of cinnamon coming off of this. The nose, it's not unpleasant, but it's not the most pleasant thing in the world. It's got a little mustiness coming off of it. It almost smells like a very, very cheap craft distillery bottle. And we've all had those. We've all gone to a craft distillery. We've tried their bourbon, and we're always like, what is that I don't like about that? And most of the time, it's the aging process that goes into those bottles. This has that nose, but it's got a touch of a sweet vanilla that lingers in there. It's not bad whatsoever, but it's not my favorite out of these 3 noses, right? I think 1, 2, and then 3 goes in the nose. Let's find out if the palate from a regular Woodford Reserve into a secondary aging process, home done, tastes any better than what I've got over here from Woodford Double Oak. Hold the phone. Hold the flippin' phone. It's sweet. It is really sweet, but it has a little bit of a tannic note on the back end. It has a really nice mouthfeel, whereas the Woodford Double Oak isn't in my wheelhouse whatsoever out of this bottle. I've had a couple other bottles that are really, really good. Woodford Reserve, like I've said, is really, really good. For what I had to do for it, you had to do nothing. That is very interesting. Third sip, not as sweet as the first, right? This has to open up a little bit. I would imagine that after it opens up a little bit, right, it's not gonna be as sweet forward, but initial sip, actually not too bad. Noses, I'd go 1, 2, 3. Palates, I would go 1, 2, 3. It's right in the middle of the 3 of them. If you wanted to go on Amazon and buy this right here, craft your own bourbon, not quite sure how much it is. My fiance got it for me for Christmas to do a project like this. And well, it was a fun project to do, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever done anything like this, made your own bourbon out of a wood sphere or spiral or whatnot, and what you thought about it at the end result. But until next time, this has been Nathan with the Everyday Drinker. Cheers.